One of the craziest events on all of Sodor's history has started off like any normal day on Sodor. All the engines on Sodor were working hard to make sure that this was a really good railway. Sir Topham had installed a nuclear power plant to boost up ratings and modernize Sodor. Some engines are against this power plant, while some say it will boost up ratings and get Sodor really good. Edward the Blue Train was just taking a train at Wellsworth. Edward was unsure about the power plant and didn't know if it will help Sodor or make it worse. But Edward's driver tells him not to worry and that everything will be fine. Or so he thought. Bust my buffers! What was that? He quickly yelled. Oh no, the nuclear power plant exploded! Everyone get out quickly! Well, he didn't have to tell the passengers twice. They quickly hopped on their coaches, and Edward quickly sped away, hoping to escape this blast. Edward raced past Donald, who was heading the opposite way with a goods train. Donald was heading towards the blast, but he didn't know. Edward wanted to tell Donald what happened, but Edward couldn't stop. He was going way too fast to apply the brakes. Edward went faster and faster down the track. He never stopped. His pistons pumped and his boiler bubbled. Edward never stopped until they got to Knapford Station, that is. Edward was tired, but he was just glad he made it to Knapford safely. Just then, James rolled into the station. He was very cross. Edward felt glad to see his friend. James, thank goodness you're alive. How are you? Oh, I'm fine, Edward. It's not like I just left millions of passengers to die. Wait, what? How did this happen? Talk to Toby about that one. Oh, okay. But James, we can't stay here for long. We have to get going. Of course I know we have to get going. I'm not an idiot. Edward knew James was just mad about the passenger thing, but he was just glad to see James alive. Okay, James, let's get moving. And the two engines raced down the track. Edward had to stop for water because his tank was almost low. But James didn't even think about stopping. He raced right past Edward and raced down the track. But there was trouble. He went down a wrong line. But by the time James realized this, it was too late. Edward felt sad for James. He watched in horror as he raced down the track. Edward's driver said he and his fireman had to go rest was gonna go rest in the station and told him to stay here and make sure and if you see something, blow your whistle. Edward agreed, and so he just stayed there while his driver and fireman went into the station. It wasn't long before Edward heard something. It was Percy. He was racing down the tracks. And he was pulling Annie and Clarabelle. And was also pulling a truck that looked to be like Scruffy. Percy didn't stop to check on Edward. He just raced down the track. He wanted to escape Sodor as fast as possible. Percy sped onto the main line, and he was almost at Vickerstown Bridge. But when Percy looked back to see what was behind him, a mutated Oliver was chasing them. Percy was horrified by the face of Oliver, but he didn't stop. He kept going. He wanted to escape Sodor, no matter what it was. But the mutated Oliver wasn't gonna let him off so easily. But Percy wasn't paying attention to the tracks, and buffers were up ahead, and he slammed into them. Percy crashed into a ditch. He was oozing blood everywhere. He broke his jaw on the rock that he hit after he crashed into the buffers. But then the mutated Oliver caught up to him. But then a mutated Gordon thundered by. Meanwhile, Boko was taking up a train to the docks, but he was unaware about the situation. I wonder if Bill and Ben will be happy to see me, Boko said to himself. But when Boko got to the yards, then he knew what was going on. When Edward's driver and fireman came back to him, he told them about how he saw Percy race right past him. Edward's driver and fireman hopped on board, and then they decided to go hide in an abandoned shed. And so that's what they did.